Hey everyone, welcome back to Steve's View. Today we need to talk about a really big, controversial change that President Donald Trump just made to America's immigration and work visa system. And it's something that's been blowing up in the news and on social media, especially among international students, tech workers, and anyone following U.S. politics closely. I'm talking about Trump's dramatic hike in the H-1B visa fee from about $1,500 all the way up to $100,000. Yeah, you heard that right. 100 grand just to file for this work visa. That's not a typo. And a lot of people are shocked because in the history of US visas, nobody's seen a fee like that. Even the EB-5 visa, which requires a big investment, is about investment capital, not just a raw fee. This is literally the government saying, pay us $100,000 up front if you want this visa. So naturally, people are freaking out. Some media outlets are saying Trump's lost it again, that he's anti-immigrant, that this is a way to shut the door on talented foreign students and workers. Others are saying it'll keep America safe, protect jobs, and stop abuse of the system. But like with most things in politics, the truth is more complicated. And that's what I want to dig into today. We're going to talk about why Trump did this, what his logic is, what kind of impact this could have on America, and maybe most importantly, what this means for international students, including many from China and India who rely on H-1B as their main path to staying in the United States. All right, let's start with what the order actually says. According to the White House, Trump signed an executive order that changes the H-1B visa filing fee from about $1,500 to $100,000, effective immediately. This applies only to new applicants, so if you already have an H-1B, you don't suddenly owe Uncle Sam an extra 100 grand. And the White House clarified that the fee is one-time, not annual, which is important because some rumors online were saying people would have to pay $100,000 every year. That's not the case, but still, $100,000 upfront is a massive barrier. Trump's order also included instructions to the Department of Labor and the Department of Homeland Security to create new enforcement and penalty systems to stop companies from abusing the H-1B program. So it's not just about the money. It's about cracking down on what the administration sees as fraud and misuse. Now, why such a huge change? Well, if you read the White House fact sheet, they frame it as protecting the national interest. That's a phrase Trump emphasized over and over. The argument goes like this. Some American companies have been gaming the system. Instead of using H-1B visas to bring in truly exceptional talent that America doesn't have, they've been using it as a loophole to replace American workers with cheaper foreign labor. The White House even pointed fingers at 4 unnamed U.S. companies accused of laying off thousands of American employees and then filling those roles with H-1B workers. The fact sheet says this isn't just about jobs, it's about national security too. If entire industries, especially tech, become dominated by foreign workers, that creates vulnerabilities. Now here's where things get interesting. The media spun this as Trump is anti-immigrant, but if you look closer, the policy isn't designed to ban foreign talent. It's more like a filter. Think about it. If a company truly needs someone who's world-class, someone who can create millions in value, then paying $100,000 as a one-time fee might be expensive, but it's worth it. But if a company's goal is just to save money by hiring someone cheaper than an American worker, then suddenly it's not worth it anymore. Trump's logic here is pretty simple. If someone's really a talent, they'll prove it by being valuable enough that companies are willing to pay that price. If not, they're not the kind of immigrant America needs. That's his way of drawing the line. But, and this is my personal critique, the way this policy is rolled out is extreme. Let's be honest. A sudden $100,000 fee is going to shock people. It's going to cause panic, and it already has. There were reports of international students scrambling to book flights back to the U.S. the moment the order was announced, worried that they'd get locked out. Airline tickets from China to the US shot up to $6,000, even over $10,000 for economy class in some cases, because people were afraid of being caught on the wrong side of the new rule. That kind of chaos doesn't make America look strong or smart. It makes the system look unstable and unpredictable. And here's another thing. The H-1B visa isn't just a piece of paper. For decades, it's been the main bridge for international students to stay in the US, work, and eventually apply for a green card or even citizenship. It's a ladder. Students from China, India, South Korea, and all over the world spend years studying here, often paying huge tuition fees with the hope of getting that first job under H-1B. It's their shot at building a life in America. So when you suddenly slap a $100,000 price tag on it, you're not just changing paperwork, you're changing people's futures. For many students, especially those without wealthy families, this basically says, sorry, your American dream just got priced out. But let's also be real. The H-1B system has had serious problems for years. I can tell you from personal experience. Back when I worked in a Chinese language media outlet in the US, we sponsored a lot of H-1B visas for Chinese and Taiwanese graduates. And back then, it was relatively easy because we genuinely needed people with strong Chinese language skills. You weren't going to find that talent easily among American-born candidates. So the system worked the way it was supposed to, filling a real gap. But starting around 2012, it got harder. Why? Because the number of visas is capped, and the IT industry started grabbing a huge share of them. By the time Trump came into office, the majority of H-1B visas were going to IT workers, not niche industries. According to the White House, in 2003, about 32% of H-1Bs were in IT. By recent years, it's jumped to 65%. That's almost 2/3 of the visas going to one sector. And here's the kicker. While the number of foreign workers in STEM fields doubled, overall job growth in those fields in the US was less than half that rate. So what that means is, yes, more foreign workers came in, but they weren't just filling gaps. They were replacing domestic workers. In fact, unemployment rates for American computer science and engineering grads are now higher than for liberal arts grads. Let that sink in. Parents thought pushing their kids into STEM was a ticket to success, but suddenly, those students can't find jobs because companies are hiring H-1B workers instead. And we can't ignore where most of these H-1B workers are coming from. India. Indian students dominate the IT pipeline, and a big reason for that is how the system was exploited. Indian consulting firms and middlemen found ways to game the H-1B lottery. Basically, instead of applying once through one company, they'd create multiple shell companies and apply several times for the same person. If one company doesn't win the lottery, maybe another does. This gave Indian applicants way more chances than anyone else. At one point, Indian nationals were taking up about 70% of all H-1B visas issued each year. That's not just a natural outcome. It's the result of exploiting loopholes. Now, to be fair, the Biden administration already tried to close that loophole in 2024 by changing the lottery system to be based on passport numbers. That way, one person only gets one entry, no matter how many companies apply. But the sheer volume of Indian applicants still means they dominate the numbers. Trump's new policy, though, goes further by making it financially costly, forcing companies to think twice. Let's zoom out for a second. Is it fair to say that the H-1B system has been abused? Absolutely. Is it fair to say that's hurt American workers, especially in tech? Yes, the data supports that. Is it fair to worry about national security if huge parts of America's IT infrastructure are staffed primarily by foreign nationals? Definitely. Imagine if an entire defense contractor's software division was staffed mostly by people who only recently arrived from abroad, even if they become citizens later. In the short term, it's a vulnerability. So I actually agree with Trump and the White House on the problem they're trying to solve. But is a $100,000 fee the smartest way to solve it? That's where I think this policy misses the mark. It's too blunt, too extreme, and too disruptive. It causes panic, and it risks scaring off not just the bad actors, but also the truly brilliant talent America actually needs. Think about the next Einstein, the next Elon Musk, or the next great innovator. If they don't have wealthy families or powerful companies backing them, are they really going to pay $100,000 just for the chance to work in America? Maybe not. And that means the US could lose out in the global talent race. Here's the bigger picture. America has always been strong because it attracts the best from around the world. That's been true for centuries. From German scientists to Indian engineers to Chinese entrepreneurs, the US became a superpower by opening its doors to talent. If you slam that door too hard, even in the name of protecting jobs, you risk cutting off the very lifeblood of innovation. And other countries, Canada, Australia, even European nations, are more than happy to scoop up that talent instead. Canada's already been advertising itself as a friendlier alternative for skilled immigrants. Policies like this just make their job easier. So where does this leave us? Well, my prediction is that Trump's $100,000 H-1B fee won't last forever. It might survive his term if the courts don't block it, but eventually it'll be softened or reformed by the next administration, Republican or Democrat. Because at the end of the day, America can't afford to shut itself off from global talent. The real solution isn't to price everyone out, it's to fix the loopholes, enforce the rules, and make sure H-1B is used for actual talent, not cheap labor substitution. And let me finish with this. I get why international students are panicking. This policy does make it harder for many of them to stay, but it's also a wake-up call. The US is saying, we want talent, not just anyone. So if you're truly exceptional, the door's not closed. It's just more expensive to prove your worth. If you're not, then maybe America's not the place you'll end up. It's harsh, but that's the new reality. Still, I think the pendulum will swing back. America's DNA is to attract the best and brightest, and no matter how extreme Trump's policies are, that basic truth won't change. So what do you think? Is Trump right to slap a $100,000 fee on H-1B visas to filter out cheap labor? Or is this going to backfire and drive talent away from America? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you.